Hello, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, July 4th, 2024. Today is the day that the United States celebrates the at least 95 years of independence from British rule that we had. And if that particular phrase leaves you confused, you have a little homework to do. But from 1776 to 1871, we were officially free of British rule. So let's take a look, though, speaking of things that are politic and elected representation and things like that. There is some information that's been coming up the last few days, and there's speculation that we're seeing some coded communications. So that's what this video is going to be about, exploring, have we seen some coded information, and is it something that we can have some further insights or enlightenment on? I'm going to take you to a share screen, and if it interests you, you can look at it in further detail and follow the links by choosing the Facebook link that will be in the video description box. I'll try to also mention where I'm finding things as we go in case you choose not to use Facebook for anything. Unfortunately, though, with the way I have to operate working on a rather restricted platform, this is the best way to do it and not lose my channels. So bear with me as I go to a compilation I've created over on Facebook, which YouTube doesn't mind a link about that, and we'll see what the universe wants to say about this varied information that I'm going to present to you. 1 second while I go to that share screen. Okay, on June 30th of this year, Mr. T put up a social media post that talked about Nancy Pelosi, and as you can see here, has been circled in red. The word she is a sick puppy and always has been was used here. Now, on the 1st of July, in speaking about the recent Supreme Court ruling, he mentioned that Joe Biden should now call off his dogs, so dogs and puppies. Now, why is that important? In the Anon community, coded communications that involve dogs usually refers to either someone that's on a leash, being constrained, owned in their official capacity, and those who hold the leash. Occasionally, it can also refer to a passing away, a leaving the earthly plane. I'm trying not to use difficult words here so that YouTube won't have a problem with this. But also, this caused speculation. Okay, on the heels of that, the next day, there was news that Congressman Lloyd Doggett, became the first Democrat lawmaker to call on Joe Biden to drop out of the 2024 presidential race. So even his own party is starting to think that he is not a strong enough candidate for what they hope to do. Now, if you'd like to look, long ago in 2021, and I have a link to it, Mr. T mentioned that the 25th Amendment was absolutely no threat to him, but could come back to haunt Mr. B, 46. Okay, so here he's been one call to drop out of the race for Mr. B. One call thought that the 25th Amendment may be viable. I don't think we have to contend with the 25th Amendment too much because, as I was doing some reading, the 25th Amendment is not a cut and dry process. If the Biden family / camp fights the process takes a minimum of 23 days and ultimately requires a 2/3 majority vote in both houses of Congress to remove whoever. Only VP Harris can invoke it, and a majority of Biden's cabinet secretaries must agree. So that's a lot of hoops to jump over to implement the 25th Amendment. Okay, and even if they do, here's something really super important. Biden cannot be replaced on the ballot in 3 swing states, except for death or the 25th Amendment. Okay, so if it's that difficult to get the 25th Amendment to go, even if he's not on the ballot or he's replaced, there's 3 states where it's not going to be able to change: Georgia, Nevada, Wisconsin. So that impacts things more and more. okay, except for death or 25th Amendment. 25th Amendment's difficult to do, okay? So that means one of the possibilities that's out there is a leaving the earthly plane of somebody. The 25th Amendment, even though there's some issues with that, or the DNC would have to decide that a replacement person would be a strong enough candidate that even though there'd be those 3 states, they would not have a viable ticket with the new candidate, Georgia, Wisconsin, and Nevada, that they'd proceed. So I want to know about these dog comms. Were they dog comms, number one? And if so, can we get some insights and information about just what they were communicating in that coded fashion? I'm going to switch the camera and you can watch me work with the cards and we'll find out together what the universe wants us to know. So was Mr. T posting some coded communications, dog comms? And can we have some insights and information about what they are pertaining to whomever is seen in the public eye? This is to kind of keep us getting information from the universe when someone is played by a stand-in, a double, a clone, or simply generated by CGI. So the person seen in the public eye, if it's about someone that we want to know about, that person seen in the public eye. Was it coded communication? Is our yes no element? And can we have some insights and information about what those codes were signaling? Okay, we have the 10 of Cups, the 2 of Wands, we have the 6 of Swords, King of Cups, 6 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, and the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, at the moment, now I'm going to get 4 more cards, but at the moment, if you notice, our communication card is the sword suit, which talks of written and spoken words. And that is our strongest nod to the yes or no element of the question so far. Okay, especially since the 6 of Wands is always indicating trying to get from a place of trouble, confusion, and chaos into calmer waters and peaceful, better situations, more safety for innocent life. So let's look at the question here. Okay. Family is important, and generations are going to be are happily represented with the 10 of Cups here, that we're at a time of upcoming celebration. Okay, and the reason is because we are moving into a new era, if nothing else, and possibly even a complete different plane of existence as far as where we are in our 3D reality moving into 4D and up. So the cards are telling me that we've got change coming, but it's really beautiful change, okay? The recent past, which could be as recent as when those communications came out, was just, I think was Mr. T saying, hey, it's time to start steering this boat towards a better place. It is time. Yeah, it was time for him to drop out of the race. Absolutely. Okay, is what that's all about. I'm not seeing anything so far about that there might have been an element of leaving the earthly plane on that. Now, we do have some public figures in the United States that are very, very elderly. And so it wouldn't surprise me if we had some announcements. And I say announcements because quite often with the timing of these things have already happened and we're waiting for the announcement, whether it's London Bridge or, whomever it might be. Okay, the King of Cups is where we're at for the present. King of Cups is a good poker player. And if you can play poker, you can play chess. So there's been some moves and counter moves going on, but things are well under control by Mr. T and his team and the White Hats in the Alliance. Okay, now moving forward, as we have change roll out, it's not going to roll out in total, quickly. And for example, if we have changes in our finances, tax structure, tax codes, things like that, they're not going to happen overnight where they be overwhelming, but we do have some good things happening where there'll be more opportunities for we here in the United States to keep more money in our pockets. So it does look like I think we've got some nice change coming. Absolutely. Now, getting some insights and some information here. Okay, the obscurity of the communications is deliberate. Okay, people that are intended to receive those communications or to know just that poking and prodding them that, you know, symbolism is your downfall, but we've learned to use it too. So symbolize this. So just a nod to, yeah, coded communications are just that. They are a form of communication. The person they're intended for, or the party, or the people, or the group, get it. They absolutely get it. And we are trying on our part to discern some of what that might be, just out of interest and knowing that the truth isn't to be found in the mainstream media reporting. Queen of Pentacles, kind of a reassuring card here, telling us, hey, don't worry, okay? Things are going to work out. She's very patient, loving, definitely a card that indicates some sovereignty and a smooth transition to that too. So yeah, there's change coming, okay? That change is going to involve us having a little more money in our pocket, okay? And that change may be asking Mr. B to step aside so things can move forward in a much better way. Now, he doesn't seem to be very interested in that, or his wife isn't. Let's see what other cards want us to know here. We've got the Six of Cups, Justice, Queen of Wands, and the Seven of Wands. Okay, now these were picked 2 by 2, so they kind of work together. Okay. All right. There is, in many cases, we are trying to get a resolution to a story that's already been told, that someone has already been dealt with, but they've allowed an avatar, a stand-in, a double to play that part. And it's time to wrap up some storylines. And we're going to be, they're doing it as gently as they can, because not everybody has been on the path of seeking out truth in information and shaking off programming, and they're very aware of that. So they are doing it in such a way that it can be done to the benefit of all, but with the least amount of collateral damage possible. Let's look here, the Queen of Wands, truth. Truth is coming out. So those of us that have been a little frustrated, let's get the disclosures. Let's quit working with these doubles in version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, whether they're heading up Russia or Twitter or whatever. Let's see who's really, you know, doing the job and judge them for that. So those of us, the truth is coming. It will come. This guy here, though, there's some challenges to be faced in the process of these changes, whether they are for our plane of existence or those who represent us in an elected capacity. There are some challenges, but just a reassurance here that we being everyday normal humans and those who are awake, we have the high ground. We have pursued learning truth. We have pursued unlearning things that were false. And we have the high ground, and change is coming. And that change is going to be good. It's going to care for those that need help and to be treasured and taken care of. And we've got some good things coming, but the rollout won't be overnight on it, on the financial plane. So there are things changed. So the communication was there, yes. And the communication seems to be to calling to him to step aside. Okay, so we know the original Mr. B has already been dealt with. He's no longer on the earthly plane. This is telling us the person seen in the public eye as. Let's recap. Often I'm asked, why do you do tarot reads on current events and people that are in the news who have been dealt with via tribunal or other justice means quietly in the past, and they're being played by a double or a version 2.0 of some sort or other. And I do because if that version 2.0 is given the same power and authority as the original, then they need to be, number one, we need to keep our eyes on them. And number two, they are just as liable for the consequences of those actions and that misuse of authority as the original version was. So that's why we read on them, but that's why I carefully do it, asking for the person seen in the public eye. So even if there's 4 individuals playing the part of one person, we can see as far as the persona, the avatar seen in the public eye. We want to know what that one's going to do and what information is about that, because that's what the current events hinge on. So we asked about some recent Truth Social posts that Mr. T had put up. One mentioned that Nancy Pelosi was a sick puppy and always had been, and one was calling for Mr. B to call off his dogs. And so we said, is that a dog calm? Well, we did get a nod that yes. We didn't get a hard yes on it. We got a nod that yes, it was indeed communication. Okay. The universe was really happy that we were asking about this. And again, that just it's time to put the safety of little ones first, family first. It is time for a change. And that is upon us in a very good way. Now, the universe didn't go into great detail about what that change might be, but we have things happening that are not just on one continent, one country, but for our entire plane of existence. And we are moving into some new waters for the human race and for our plane of existence. And that was indicated with this. I think those comms were talking, asking, and just kind of prodding Mr. B to step down. Because the 25th Amendment would make that happen, but it's difficult to implement. And even if in open session, the Democratic National Party takes Mr. B off the ballot, there's 3 states that will not recognize that unless it's been because of a 25th Amendment or death. So if they replace him, they've got to do it knowing that they can live without those 3 important states, or they've got to do the 25th Amendment, or he needs to just simply, of his own volition, step aside. But even then, those 3 states might be interesting. Okay, in the near future, we are going to be enjoying some more tangible, life-affirming means. Some generosity headed our way. The Pentacles talk about tangible goods, and we've been really, really battling inflation and trying to feed our families and stretch a shrinking dollar. And in the near future, that is going to change, not overnight, but enough that we will see some easing. And so that is coming our way. A nod to the fact that coded communications are difficult to get to the absolute meaning, because this is a choice of kind of smoke and mirrors, and a card that talks about lots of choices. But overall, whomever the message is intended for, the recipients get it. We just try to also say, okay, what are they saying? What are they saying? What are they hinting at? What are they alluding to? Now, as I went a little further along, the Justice card showed up. Just a reminder that justice has been served because of some important executive orders and continuity of government things that are going on, but always with an eye to protecting innocent life. And this is also a card of reconciliation. So we're in the process of reconciling some things that have happened in the background, coming to a way to end up the storyline now until full disclosure and truths can come out in some incomplete format. So that was really nice to see. Number one, justice. I always like to see that because we deserve it. And this card, again, another one that just a nod to innocent life. And we had some cards. The Queen of Wands is almost brutally honest. So we've got some truth coming out. And just a nod that even those of us that are already on that path of truth, we have the high ground, but it's not over yet. We still got some some battles to fight and some fires to put out and what have you. In other words, the shenanigan gang is going to continue to the last breath, doing what they can to muddy waters and avoid disclosures, and they're trying to do what they can to make sure they save a legacy. And there's probably some really deep, dark back room dealing going on, like, okay, we got to take a hit now, but we're going to come back in 200 years with this. So there's that going on too. But in the meantime, those of us that seek truth, we're going to continue to do it. If we are in the process of unlearning lies we've been taught throughout our lives, we're going to continue that process. And we're going to be mindful that we human beings were created to love, to feel joy, to not be perpetual slaves with impaired capabilities, health, what have you. So embrace those you love, your joy. Don't be ashamed to feel joy, to laugh, to have a good time. We were made for that. And it doesn't make us any less a warrior when it comes down to it. Okay? When it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty, we can do it. That smile won't look quite as the same as it did when we were joyful, but we'll get her done. Okay, that's it for this video. I thank you so much for your time, your attention, and the fact that you're willing to at least consider sources of information that are non-traditional. And if it feels like it's truth to you and it resonates with you, you're not just tossing it out without considering it. And I applaud you for that. So until next time, I send you love, light, and wish for you everything bright. Bye.